Today's show is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering our listeners a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. Just go to audibletrial.com/itslayspodcast and browse the unmatched selection of audio programs. Download a title free and start listening. It's that easy. Go to audibletrial.com/itslayspodcast. And we are going to give a recommendation today. Xylia, what are you recommending?
So my recommendation is From Here to Eternity, Traveling the World to Find the Good Death by Caitlin Doughty. She basically travels the world to find the good death. That is that's literally what she does. She goes to see what different cultures do for funeral practices and compares them to North America. It's really great.
And you could get that as your free book.
And she also is the one that reads it.
There you go. So if you want to follow Xylia's adventures into death, go to audibletrial.com/itslayspodcast and you could get it for free.
Woo.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, I'm getting ready to watch a video.
Really? What?
Oh, just some scary movie.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
You sick fucks. You've seen one too many.
I said, don't you blame the movies. Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.
Hello, horror hounds, and welcome to the It Slays podcast. I'm Rowan.
It's Xylia.
And this is Mike.
And we are back for another one. We are back with an Xylia pick.
Yep.
Seems like it's been a little while.
The Lost Boys.
The Lost Boys.
It's been a minute, yeah.
But as always, we're going to start with my question of the episode.
I don't know the question.
You never know the question. So we're going to go a little off focus here. So I want your top 3.
Why do you always do this to us?
Top 3 favorite junk foods.
Oh my god.
Okay, first you need to be clear. Are we talking...
Yeah, what kind of junk
Are we
food?
talking like snack foods or junk foods that are like a meal? Like, are we talking takeout or, like going to the snack aisle or a 7-Eleven or something?
Let's go snack aisle.
Okay.
Let's go snack aisle. Xylia, you're starting.
What? Are you serious? I only know 2. Okay. I'll give you my first 2 and then I'll come back for the third. Miss Vicky's salt and vinegar kettle cooked chips. Obviously, if anybody knows me, knows I love those. I have high blood pressure. I probably shouldn't eat them, but that's okay. And Ben & Jerry's Cherry Garcia ice cream.
She does love it because she makes me buy it.
I love it.
It's an indulgence.
It's delicious.
Still waiting for that third one.
That third one, what?
Well, you only picked 2 snacks.
Yeah, I said I come back.
Oh, you're coming back.
Yeah, I really got to think about it.
Okay, Mike, you're up.
Okay, so obviously it goes without saying a giant bag of dill pickle Lays. I love my potato chips. I could just literally eat giant bags of them from sun up to sundown. And
dill pickle and the Miss Vicky's are like neck and neck. They're just like...
Yeah, I just don't like kettle cooked chips because they hurt to chew.
Really?
But
I suck all the salt and vinegar off of them first.
Okay, that's
they're kind of
just like say goodbye to 4 layers of skin on your tongue.
I love it.
Your tongue is just going to be like a raw wound for like a week. Okay, and number 2 would be old school stovetop Jiffy Pop, because it's literally the best popcorn in the universe. And obviously making it is fun, and it's like an adventure. It's a ritual in itself. Unless you're like me and get easily distracted and just leave it there and catch it on fire.
I only had it for the first time not too long ago.
Oh my god, how have we been friends for this long and I never made you Jiffy Pop? I failed you, I'm sorry. And the last one is, of course, a giant bag of Skittles. I live and die for Skittles. I would have Skittles babies.
I mean, we knew this because every time we have a house party,
we'd
be like, "Oh, we gotta buy a big bag of Skittles for Mike."
True.
So
I know my third now. So it's this really delicious donut from Dip Donuts. on Baldwin Street in Toronto, and it's a vegan. I don't really care about that part. It just happens that they only make this kind vegan rosewater pistachio donut. It's like
that sounds
really tasty.
Decadent.
Like very decadent. Yes, it's
it's so good.
I feel like mine are just basic. I'm like basic bitch. One is Snickers chocolate bars.
I didn't even know. Okay, I've been with you for like 17 years and I didn't even know you like Snickers.
I mean, I eat enough Snickers that I like put it. I could own part of the business.
What?
Yeah.
He like hides Snickers and like eats them on the sly. Clearly,
I always thought his favorite was like Reese's peanut butter cups.
No, not whatsoever.
Divorce.
It's Snickers.
Divorce.
Second would be Cool Ranch Dorito chips.
You love those.
Yeah, that's my my go-to. Third, I guess it's like a junk food. I really like salted peanuts.
Oh yes,
just like super salty peanuts. I'm all about that. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
I'm actually getting very hungry right now just talking about
Yeah,
snack foods.
Well, then we better talk about something else.
Yes.
So before we get into the movie, we decided that we wanted to read stuff from what everyone's written us like the last 2 weeks. Probably longer once we release this episode. It'll be a month or so. But we asked some questions on Instagram, got some answers. We had someone write and give their opinion on The Descent, which I think was a unanimous slay from us, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think
It was, yes.
Yes, as it should be. So why don't we start with The Descent, Xylia? Why don't you let us know what's going on?
Okay, well, my dear friend Brittany, Mike knows Brittany as well.
Love Brittany. She's a queen. We stan.
And
I mean, I also know Brittany.
Oh yeah, right. You know Brittany. We all know Brittany. We all know and love Brittany. She says, this is one of my absolute favorites. Creepy and thrilling, start to end. Also, you think the madness is over, but just wait until you watch part 2. Last time I was caving, it's all I could think of. If you ever want to go splunking, that's how you say it?
Spelunking.
Don't watch this.
Spelunking sounds like a rude sexual act.
It does. That's why when Rowan wrote it in our descriptions, I was like, what the fuck is that? And he's like, I looked it up. That's the word for it.
It does not involve ejaculation.
It definitely does sound
maybe
dirty.
It does. I don't know. I don't know how people do it.
It reminds me of, like, you know, Blumpkin.
No. Crickets. Insert crickets here.
I don't know. It's just like something I remember from
You don't
when we were
want to
kids.
know Blumpkin. Let's skip that.
Not when we were kids, but like I heard about it when I was a kid.
So on the Instagram side of things, we asked everybody, we wanted to know their thoughts on some horror sequels, and we said we were going to read the results on an episode. So we did give some examples of sequels from Scream 2 to Nightmare on Elm Street 2 to Friday the 13th 2 to I don't even know what else, Jeepers Creepers 2, a whole bunch. So we did get some answers. 2 people were very talkative about it, so I was loving it. Emily Jane commented, and shout out to her Instagram, which is at EmilyJ.Ane, A-N-E. So she said about Halloween 2 that Halloween would have made an awesome anthology series. I think they should have made new stories every single movie.
That's actually brilliant. Like, completely brilliant.
I think it's pretty good. I think it's a good idea. And then we had at Kruger's Girl. She said,
I wonder what she likes.
That's right. She commented about Nightmare on Elm Street 2, and she said, best of the franchise, aside from the original, in my opinion.
Oh, yes. Yep.
And, I mean, we've already talked about it. I think we all fully agree on that one. Emily Jane came back with another comment about Scream 2 and said that she thought the first movie was already complete. I thought the sequels beat a dead horse. It's been a while since I've seen the other ones, so I don't really have a comment on that. But I feel like the other ones are loved by some people. So
This is Scream.
The Scream
I've only ever seen the
ones.
first Scream.
Kruger's Girl also commented on Scream 2 and said, I could have done without Jerry O'Connell singing in the cafeteria.
Jerry O'Connell.
So
Such like a 90s actor.
yeah.
I could have just done without Jerry O'Connell in general, I think. But, you know, he's meant to be that, like, kind of plain oatmeal, white bread.
Always,
You know,
every
yeah.
role.
He just reminds me of Can't Hardly Wait when he plays like the washed up college jock.
Oh, God.
That's all he reminds me of.
A classic.
And our last comment was from Kruger's Girl again, and it was about the Saw franchise. And she said the first 3 were good.
Yeah, I actually, I adore
I
Saw
agree.
2. I think Saw 2 might be even the best, frankly.
I like Saw 2 better than I like Saw 1, I think.
What were some of the deaths in Saw 2?
Saw 2 is the needle.
Oh, the
pit.
needle
The
pit
needle
is
pit.
so
Pit.
scary.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I remember seeing the first Saw in theaters, and I saw it, I think, before a lot of people, so I didn't know the twist at the end, and I remember thoroughly enjoying it. Now, I mean, this was like, I was probably a teenager.
Yeah.
Definitely a teenager, but no, it was really...
Yeah, I was gonna say, I definitely agree that those first 3 were really good, and I think they just kind of got...
Was the third the one with Donnie Wahlberg?
I think
That was either 3 or 4. I can't.
that was either 3 or 4.
That's where I kind of stopped.
You
watching
draw the
it.
line there.
And Dina Meyer from Starship Troopers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I love her.
So, I guess it is time to get into our movie. So, our movie this week, or this bi-weekly, I keep saying this week like we do
This
it every
episode.
week. This episode is Lace Crater from 2015, directed by Harrison Atkins.
As well as written by.
Sorry, my English is not good?
No, it's written and directed by.
Yeah, I apparently didn't say that sentence like Xylia liked. So...
Do you guys hear the shade over the friggin'...
Put your reading glasses on, because I'm reading right now. So we will get into the trailer, and we will be back with the bio.
You would come from a house like this.
What's that supposed to mean?
Let's get out of here.
There's the coach house. There's a bed in there.
Coach house?
My mom uses it as an art studio sometimes. She says it's haunted.
What?
I want to stay there.
I do not want to stay there.
Okay, Ruth signed up.
Oh my god! See ya. Cheers.
Come out. Come on. Why don't you come out and just hang out like a normal person?
What do you want to see?
Sure.
Ruth. You okay?
Yeah.
Something's happening to me. Something happened. What happened? Why is everyone acting so weird?
So, this is the bio for the movie. This we say this every episode, that I think this is the shortest, sweetest one, and this may continue that trend.
I think this could probably be summed up so quickly.
This is a woman encounters a strange presence in a guest house.
Okay, that doesn't really explain the movie.
How to lose a guy in 10 words.
Yeah, I think there's a little more to that. I don't think it really sums up the film. Now, I wanted to do this before we got into the film, is I wanted to talk, we mentioned it's directed by Harrison Atkins. He's not really that well known, but he is the co-writer of the television show Easy.
That makes sense because she's in Easy, and I bet that guy. Remember how that guy?
Let me continue my spiel here. So this is produced by Joe Swanberg.
Love him.
And that's the guy who plays Dean.
Yes, and he is the creator and the producer and the co-writer of Easy.
Yeah,
and he also is in episodes of Easy.
That makes sense.
He's a prominent figure in mumblecore, which this is considered a mumblecore film.
What does that mean? You just like it's like.
So I looked it up because I feel old because I'm like, what is mumblecore films?
Is it just like Eeyore?
So mumblecore films, like if you've watched Easy, the television show, or this, it says it's very like heavily based on normal conversations about sex and relationships, and everything's
That's what I talk about, because Easy's so realistic. It's just like everyday conversation.
So I didn't know, but he's considered like a huge figure of mumblecore. Adam, Adam Wingard?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Adam Wingard is like considered mumblecore, which, Joe Swanberg is in You're Next.
Yes, he is, yeah.
Yeah, he acted in You're Next. And then I thought I'd also bring up Joe Swanberg also was a writer and producer on Drinking Buddies.
I don't know that.
And the first VHS film, which is another horror movie. Joe Swanberg also directed an episode of Xylia's all-time favorite show, Love.
Love! I knew it. Okay, this is what I was thinking. Mike, have you ever seen Love?
I haven't yet. I really want to.
Jillian Jacobs is in it.
Oh, I love her.
Okay, so Lindsay, what's her last name? It's like Lindsay, I can't remember her last name. She's the person in Lace Crater. It starts with a B.
Burge?
Her.
Yeah.
Yeah, Burge. Her and Jillian Jacobs in Love. The whole time I was watching this, I was like, they actually kind of remind me of each other. And they kind of look like each other as well.
This is the first thing that I've seen her in, and I actually kept thinking how much like her she looks.
No, she's in The Invitation.
This girl in this movie was in The Invitation?
She plays Sadie.
Oh my god, she is Sadie. I didn't realize. I think she looked familiar. Normally I'm, the IMDb king and just like go balls deep into it, but just for this one, I don't know why. I just was like, I don't know any of these people.
Yeah, no, she's from The Invitation, and one of the guys is from, okay, do you know the book John Dies at the End?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a movie of it, and he's John.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
The connections.
Those were the only two people I recognize, though.
The Hollywood connections. So what do you say? Let's get into the film. And you know where we're starting? Favorite scene. Mike.
Probably when she's lying on the bed with the ghost, like having an in-depth conversation and not even fazed by the fact that it's a ghost wearing a burlap sack. And then when they fuck, because it was just great. I loved it. It was such a cool like set piece.
And we should mention, like, I'm very excited about reviewing this because me and Xylia have seen this movie a couple times, and this is Mike's first time seeing it.
The tables are turned.
Yes,
the
tables have turned. Xylia, favorite scene?
My favorite scene's probably, okay, first of all, when it kind of like the screen goes blank and it's like weird colors and stuff? I love that. But my favorite scene would have to be when she's like drinking the beer and she's like, come out, fucker, like blah, blah, blah. And then like out comes this thing in a burlap sack and he's just like, hey, I'm Michael. Like, he sounds so emo. It's just like a regular person. And it's a fucking...
he looks emo.
Well, he sounds so emo. He's just like, hey, do you want me to like wipe that up for you?
That ghost has a lovely voice. Like, I found it like enchanting. I was mesmerized by his voice.
It's relaxing.
He has a really nice voice.
I just thought it was just, I remember the first time I watched this movie, I'd never heard of it. Rowan showed it to me, and it was not expecting that. I was just like, I don't know, it's just, to me, I love it. It's brilliant.
And I was going to say, I don't know if have either of you seen Pop Skull?
No.
So that's one of Adam Wingard's, like, very first films that kind of, like, put him on the scene, and that's, when I was looking up the mumblecore films, that's considered, like, in the pantheon of great mumblecore films. And that kind of weird, like, you think your TV's broken, like, distortion is all, like,
it's all
I think it's highly influenced by that, because that movie is entirely almost like that.
Interesting. I'll have to watch that.
I'm interested if maybe that's like a mumblecore film, like, kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Although, like, I don't think so, because Easy doesn't do. It's just like, I think it's just like also the same style. Probably.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking they're both like horror. These are like horror movies.
I gotta look up more things that are like this mumblecore thing, because I love, like,
I'll sort you out. I know a couple.
Thanks.
Just a reminder to follow us on all of our social media at It Slays Podcast. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, soon to be on Tumblr. Of course, we're on Spotify and iTunes. And if you're adding us on iTunes, don't forget to leave us an iTunes review. It doesn't even need to be 5-star. We appreciate 5-star. But the most important part is we want to hear from you. So write us a text review in the iTunes app, and we will make sure to give you a shout out on the podcast. Every review helps as it bumps us up in the search engine, and, you know, that's what it's all about. Back to the podcast. Favorite scene? Ooh, I'm gonna cheat. I have two. So one, I mean, we kind of keep all bringing up, is that one when we first get introduced to Michael, which is like the great, to me, just that scene alone makes this movie awesome.
Hey, I'm Michael.
But I specifically like where the camera cuts and it goes back, and Michael's just using the paper towel, and he's just like wiping it up, like
wiping the beer up for
her. No problem.
I was like, dude, why don't you just use your burlap sack? Why are you wasting a paper towel you're just gonna throw in a landfill?
And I was going to say, my other scene that I really enjoyed was towards the end, when we see her, like, kind of, like, demon out with her, like, her ex-boyfriend's house. I enjoyed that.
I had another scene, too, I forgot. So when she, like, travels back to the Hamptons, to the guest house, and she has that, like, I don't know, my grandmother had a lot of those kind of blankets, and it just reminds me of my childhood, and it's just like a grandmother thing, and she's like walking, and then they like sit on the bed together, and he has his burlap sack, and she has like her pretty like flowered like crocheted blanket, and I wanted that to be her burlap sack. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know, just them together, it looked really sweet and cute and weird. I love that.
Yeah, this movie is, like, very interesting, because, I mean, obviously, in terms of a horror movie, like...
It's very unconventional.
It's very unconventional, which I really, like about it. Yeah, there's not anything, like, necessarily, like, overtly scary, and it's definitely, I keep saying, I'm like, it has to be the most hipster horror film of all time, where everyone's just kind of like, oh, whatever, man, that's cool.
Oh my god.
But
somebody on Rotten Tomatoes did say it was scary.
Well, and
if you were just like regularly just having sex with strangers, remember they were like, this would be the scariest movie. So that's what you're doing.
Yeah, I guess that is true. I don't want to talk yet if it's scary. Yeah, I think like I love the setup of Michael. I love that Michael is just like this like friendly ghost. And he's just kind of like a normal guy. I really enjoyed, like, now that I'm like, oh, mumblecore film, I was gonna say, I really enjoy the mumblecore scenes, like, when they're doing, like, the MDMA, like, in the kind of the first act, and they're all, like, laying on the floor. And, like, I found it was really hard for my brain to process, like, what everyone's saying, because everyone's talking over each other, but, like, they did this really great job of, like, making me feel like I'm on this drug. with them because, like, everyone's kind of, like, whispering or talking softly. There's, like, 4 conversations going on, and they're, like, they've, like, taken the audio and kind of put it on top of each other. I just, like, I really liked that about it
also,
immensely.
When Buddy, it appears like he might be having a bit of a trip, and he gets up and leaves, and they're all like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, I'm fine. And he gets up and leaves. I was like, I relate so fucking hard to this. I've had to excuse myself from parties and the like because I was not having a good time, so to speak, if you catch my drift. If I overindulged, shall we say.
But, the real question when you're watching this movie is, would you fuck a ghost?
I just love how, like, there was a Google search. Like, she literally Googled STD sex with ghost, and, like, multiple things came up on a Google search. Like, it was something that a lot of people have probably done in the past. I'm just like, how common is this?
I mean, if we're getting into uncomfortable questions, I was like, I would.
You're like, he seems nice enough.
Well, I mean, you just wrap it up. Right?
Oh my God.
Which they obviously didn't do.
No.
He had a burlap sack there and everything.
Yeah, he should use the burlap sack.
Oh, the chafing.
Oh.
The chafing.
Can I just say that the fact that the main character's name was Ruth was very on brand for this movie?
Yeah, it was definitely like the hipster names. Ruth, Dean.
I mean, I don't feel like Dean's really hipster name,
Dean
but
me, I'm like, yeah.
Ruth for sure. Ruth for like a 20-something-year-old, definitely.
And like even the ghost, like I like that it wasn't Mike. It was just like Michael. It was Michael.
Also, can we talk about the music?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, the music was amazing. Alan Palamo is the music supervisor on this, who is also the lead singer of Neon Indian, who does the soundtrack.
I love Neon Indian. Love them.
I don't want to be that person, but
you are.
I don't want to. I'm just like, why does it have to be your name?
About what?
Neon Indian. I'm just like, I feel like uncomfortable saying it.
I mean, I think he's indigenous.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't want to say it still, but Baby's Eyes is like a great song.
Yeah, which is like the main song, which me and Xylia noted, they play a couple times at like different speeds.
Yeah,
so it sounds like different
down.
songs, but it's actually just the one song.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm also a big Neon Indian fan. He is Alan Palamo went to school with Joe Swanberg.
Oh.
So apparently they work together very often.
This is like a lot of connections here. Like it really seems like a tight-knit group.
Yeah, well, to
it's
me,
like a collective, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
and to me, what was interesting was just like, was the movie, but it was like, when I was reading about it too, just like all these kind of connections into other stuff that like people that need a film that's like pretty indie are connected into bigger projects and things like that. Because I thought it was also very interesting that I read that Joe Swanberg claimed to be the one responsible for launching the careers of Lena Dunham and Greta Gerwig. Apparently he like discovered both of them.
I've heard that name.
She's
Greta
the one
Gerwig,
that wrote
but...
Lady Bird and directed
Oh,
it.
yeah.
And she's starred in a lot of really good indie movies.
Yeah.
Too.
I really dislike Lena Dunham, so...
I think a lot of people
I feel like I'm, like,
have soured
hating.
on her.
Yeah, like, I don't know. There's just something about her I've never liked. I feel like I'm, like, hating on people so hard this episode, but whatever.
That's fine. We love it. Like, just fucking sharpen your claws now. Rip everything to shreds.
It's really interesting story. I'm like, I was gonna say this before and then I totally forgot. But you were talking about the mumblecore thing, and I did have written down, like, you would have to like movies where it's a lot of talking to like this movie.
Yeah, you definitely, I was gonna say you have to like exposition, but it's not exposition. It's just, you have to like...
It's not a lot of action. Like, there's not really, like... it's not like, you know what I'm saying? For a regular horror movie, I feel like it's more action. There's like an action scene of some sort. There's not really that in this.
Yeah, no, I think, to me, I found like the horror kind of comes in towards like the last act of it, and it's kind of like a body horror, really.
Yes, yeah.
With all these changes.
Yeah.
I will say I thought Xylia would, I don't know if you were loving it, but I was like, I bet Xylia's loving it, that like there's this background theme that she just like plays Sims.
Okay,
I loved
literally, I was like, The Sims. That's a fucking old ass Sims that she's playing, and that actually like kind of adds to it because they look weird because it's like shitty quality. But yeah, I was so into it.
I figured you'd really, really enjoy that.
I just assumed that was why you wanted to do this movie, so you could talk about The Sims.
I honestly forgot that she played The Sims in this. And then when I watched it again, I was like, oh, fuck, The Sims.
I've got a really beautiful screen cap of watching you play The Sims, and I tuned in and your Sim was just sitting on the toilet, and I felt like such a pervert. They blurred her butt out, but like I felt wrong. I felt it was just no
invasion of privacy.
But you kept watching.
Well, I mean, and then she broke a sink and water went flying everywhere.
Oh yeah, this is after her husband died, and then her kids are like rebelling, and they like, and one of them comes and sleeps with her every night and cries.
She's a tragedy queen.
And then her sink broke, and then her fucking toilet broke, and literally she couldn't repair either of them.
So she was just wildly shitting on the floor like an animal.
The trials and tribulations of Sims. That'll be the tagline.
What's her name, your Sim?
Well, one was Xylia, but I don't think that's the one you saw. That one was Brooklyn. Brooklyn was married to Xylia's son, who's now older, and then they got he died, sorry. But now my person's name is like Hazel Summers or something. I don't know.
Hazel Summers.
So you want to talk about a hipster name? Hazel is number one.
That is like 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, back to this movie.
This is now turned into a Sims
it's
recap podcast.
The podcast is kind of imitating the movie because she plays The Sims, and we're kind of like mumblecore because we're just having a
absolutely. The form and function are cooperating.
When life becomes art.
That's right. I wanted to also bring up about the burlap sack. I think is like an awesome kind of, like, I don't want to call it like monster creation, but just like aesthetic for your ghost. Like, very unconventional. I can't really think of another. I mean, the only other time you think of burlap sack and horror is like Friday the 13th.
Or Trick or Treat.
Yeah, Trick or Treat as well. So, like, but there's two. Like, we can name two. And I thought the way they used it was really awesome because it was just like, it wasn't like tailored or anything. It's like literally like, we're just gonna throw a pile of burlap on you.
But it like imitates the, cliched like look of a ghost, or like the idea where you throw a sheet over it, but it does it in like a really cool, unconventional way.
Yeah. That's what I was kind of thinking too, when she at the end, like the scene I was talking about where she has like that like throw over her head. That's what I was thinking too. Yeah, it literally looks like Ghost, but just like in different material, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, and I was gonna say too, like I felt, because it's been a while since I've watched it last, so as it started, I got kind of worried because I was like, maybe this movie was like a little slower than I thought it was. And I always worry about pacing and stuff, especially when I'm like looking at it with like a critical eye and everything. But when I really think about it, like once we get to Michael and that happens, I think like they utilize the time like really well. Because I was gonna say, like, I just felt like everything that happened to her, they didn't give us everything at once. And it was just kind of like these pulses of like things going wrong with her slowly, but it was really effective in building up this like kind of body, like I said, like it kind of throws you off because like if you read another description, not the shitty IMDb description we gave, like it's portrayed as like just a ghost movie.
Yeah.
But like I said, to me, it's like far more a body horror film than anything.
I think people see like ghosts as supernatural and they like latch onto that.
Yeah, I think, and then kind of hits you with that, that second, third act body horror.
No, but I think when people are like writing the thing, they know when they read it, people like everyday people are gonna read it, they're like, it's a ghost thing. Like if they're like, oh, it's a ghost, and then it hits you with body horror, people are gonna be like regular people are just gonna be like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, true.
In terms of pacing, it was really interesting because it took like 20 minutes to probably get into it, but that 20 minutes felt a lot longer than it normally does on other movies, I feel.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's definitely a short film. It's only, I think,
it's like an hour and a half or something.
No, it's not even that.
Minutes.
I think it's like an hour and 20, hour and 21 or something. It clocks in pretty short. It's pretty effective with its time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it doesn't overstay its welcome, that's for sure.
No, because like honestly, with the pacing, imagine it being like a 2-hour movie, it would feel very long.
Yeah.
Well, and I feel like I like that because I feel if it's stretched out, especially if you're a lower budget film, like I feel like the longer it goes, usually the more you can tell, like, how low budget it is.
Well, yeah, because they have more to, like, do.
Yeah, where if they're making it a little more concise. I don't know how you guys felt about her, like, waking up soaking wet all the time.
That was weird.
I definitely liked it. I mean, having seen this a couple times, like, I still am kind of... I think that's why I like it, because, like, I'm still trying to pick it apart. Like, is she actually going to these places, like, as a spirit, and then that's why she's soaking wet? Or, like, is she just profusely sweating? Or...
I mean, you start to see a visual change in her face as time goes on, so I don't think she's, like... I don't know, maybe she's dead after they have sex. I don't know, good question. What do you think, Mike?
I didn't really land anywhere firm on that because I was constantly sort of like sliding around trying to figure out not even what was happening or just formulating a theory of what I think is happening, because I felt like he left everything kind of vague and just gave you kind of like little threads that you could pull at, but I still don't know. I feel like because of the way that it was filmed, and I know that's like kind of what they were doing, but you know, the long drawn out periods where it's like silence and just her beating around her apartment and she's by herself a lot, and I was like, I kind of wanted her to be dead for most of the movie. You know, and there was such a like crisis of her like existence, you know.
Well, I was gonna say, I kind of, even though, like I said, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I kind of like had thought that they were gonna kind of approach it, especially with the doctor. Mm-hmm. So like she goes to the doctor and he's like, oh, you know, it's probably just a viral infection of like flu or something. And then like, yeah, I didn't I thought maybe they would have utilized that where like we got the one progression where she goes back and he's like, oh, this is really serious. It's an STD.
It's like a rare...
It's a rare STD. STI, excuse me. STD is outdated.
We're old school.
Yeah, old school. But I almost felt like it should have had maybe 1 or 2 more doctor visits.
Oh, he was a great character.
I really liked him, but I thought even the build-up where, like, there'd be, like, to me, I kept thinking, like, oh, maybe they'll have a doctor visit where it's like, oh, like, we have more of these results in, and it's like, you only see this stuff in, like, dead bodies, or, like...
No, I think that would, like, be too...
I think that's too...
I think that's too much.
Or the other thing I thought about, which I think maybe was hinted to in the second visit, where he was like, oh, it's, like, a really rare STI, is... I was like, they're gonna link it to, like, necrophilia or, like, something with dead bodies.
Well, like, he kind of... Like, you could tell just by, like, the body language and stuff that he's kind of, like, stigmatizing her based on, like, whatever it is. And then they see each other on the subway.
Yes, and you can also tell that he maybe knows a bit more than he's letting on.
He's letting on? Exactly. What the hell was that rock/pill thing they gave her? And what was inside of it?
I love that her prescription is, here, swallow this whole giant, like, goose egg.
Yeah.
So, I'll tell you what I took from that. Because I remember the first time I saw the movie, I was like, what kind of prescription is this?
Yeah, me too.
So what I kind of interpreted it this time around was that I think her body's breaking down and she's becoming dead. And I think it was just kind of, to me, like, I think it is a normal size pill. And I think it is kind of representing, like, her not being able to, like, swallow anymore.
Oh, because he said he can't eat. Does she eat and
because the
drink?
first thing she asked him was if he shits.
Yeah.
Not even do you eat and then do you shit. It's like, do you shit?
Although she did drink water.
She did drink lots of water. I found that was hard to tell because we were also approached with kind of the thought process. They don't necessarily show it all the time, but I kind of assumed that she had been puking a lot.
She did.
Even more so than we saw on screen. So I kind of conflated that to maybe she's puking when she eats. Because I've seen that trope in horror before where it's like, oh, like, you're becoming a zombie. You eat real food and you puke because
your body can't.
Your body doesn't want it.
Yeah.
So that, to me, like I said,
that makes sense.
The pill, that's what I kind of thought it was representing. Like, she can't swallow it. Like, she tried to use the water just, like, fell out of her mouth. And it's just kind of like to me, it kind of represented just, like, this loss of swallowing or like wanting to intake anything. One thing she didn't mind doing is dancing in basically an empty nightclub.
Oh, while they played really good music.
Yeah, it was like banging in there, but I was like, there's literally her and this one guy in there.
And he's like the creep who's just hanging out, like waiting to prey on somebody.
Get a ghost STI.
A ghost.
Oh,
a ghost
jeez, ghost TI.
Oof, baby.
Copyrighted by Mike.
All the times that people will use that. How many times does that come up in conversation?
Follows.
Well, that's what I thought was really interesting. I was like, oh, 2 horror movies. Kind of like a similar vibe.
Around the same time.
And they're both like STIs.
Yeah, I was definitely gonna say, like, it's definitely has the It Follow vibes. Great soundtrack, visually good.
But yet so different.
Yeah, yet so different. Although I do believe It Follows is also considered a mumblecore film.
That makes sense.
Oh, for sure. The aesthetic is
100%.
I'm gonna have to Google this.
We'll have to find out. Other scenes, what else were we enjoying? What else didn't we like?
Can I ask a very, like, potent question?
Please.
And it's gonna define the way that I think about this movie. But is fucking a ghost necrophilia? I truly don't know. Because I'm like, is he dead? Does he count as a human?
I don't know.
What? Is he undead?
Because he can, like, move. He can, like, disappear, too. And move.
Yes, and he also, but, he was solid enough, A,
True.
and B, to clean up.
Okay, this is where we lose 50% of our podcast listeners. And I'm shamed on the internet and judged. But so the entire scene where, like, they're gonna have sex, like, all I thought about, I'm like, oh, well, that must work out well for him because, like, rigor mortis. So, like,
oh my god.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like,
what?
But I was thinking, like, that's probably the only way he could have sex because, like, probably.
I mean, the guy disappears and moves and appears in another place. I don't think he's like. Maybe, who knows? Maybe he's just like
you
a
think
regular
he's got
person.
no skills.
Maybe he's just like a regular person.
He can manipulate the atoms of his body to, like, make his dick hard.
Also, I got worried for her, though, too, because, like, when she, like, first touches his face, I was like, I think he's done. Like, because he did that weird, like, he's like, ah. And then he's just.
Oh my god. Well, he hasn't been touched in so long, right? It's like.
I love how how he's like, oh, my face, it's really fucked up. And he takes the thing off and she's like, oh, I thought it was going to be so much work, blah, blah, blah. Actually, he didn't look really that bad, but then she looked really bad at the end when she, like.
Well, she looked like
corpse.
A methed out. Yes, exactly.
And it got, like, with, like, Michael's story as the ghost, like, man, his story got dark there. Like, when he's, like, talking about, like, how he died and he's, like, a kid.
Yeah, that was fucked up. Well, he wasn't a kid, but.
Can I ask a question? So, like, am I the only one that low-key thought that it was just, like, kind of dropped and then, like, glazed over again that this Andrew guy's parents are
Yes,
potentially
yes,
serial killers.
that is all I thought about.
I was like, man, this is actually getting really
And
scary.
I'm not gonna lie, like, I think that is correct because
yeah,
because Andrew continuously throughout the film talks about like he doesn't know why his parents say it's haunted.
well, they know because they know there's probably multiple corpses like out in the water,
And
or
like when
something,
he's
right?
describing it, I mean, he's essentially describing this place. He's like, they take me out to this suburb and like chase me, and like that. I mean, that looked like it had a lot of property on it.
But he says, I don't think it was here, but it wasn't too far. But like he doesn't know.
Yeah, he also said that his memory was muddy anyway.
Like, oh man, like it's like low key, like this really effective horror movie. Because like, when I first watched it, I was like, this is very loosely a horror movie. But like this time watching it, I'm like, there's really like some good horror elements in it.
Oh yeah, like they're out at, like I looked at it when I was done and I was like, they were all hanging out at like, maybe a pair of serial killers, like murder playground.
Yeah, it's true.
And don't realize it. And then, she fucks one of their ghosts and, and he was a young man and, like kind of like all them. And it's like, oh God, do they have a fight? There were just so many questions and it was so dark and gave me tingles. And it was so well done, in terms of them. They just barely, like, it's kind of dropped in there and not even
really like
emphasized in any way. Yeah.
Not even really like talked about. It's just like in passing.
Yeah.
Horror hounds. Do you guys like horror music? I like horror music. Xylia likes horror music. We know Mike definitely loves horror music. So if you love horror music like we do, join us on Spotify. We have a playlist up called the It Slays Podcast Horrific Playlist. We have some of our favorite tasty jams from some of our favorite horror movies, and we're always consistently adding to the list. And let us know. You can email us or Facebook or Instagram us and let us know if there's anything we should add to the playlist.
I do want to like focus a little bit on all the different stages of her, what would you call it, like decomposing or changing?
Dying?
But like, man, there's like so many good, effective, like horror things that like, even I'm like, ugh. Where like she starts to notice like her skin is like peeling off, which I think they do a great callback towards the end of the movie after she pukes all that exorcist shit out on that guy's floor.
Okay, also, if I were her friends and I had to clean up puke that many times, like twice in the span of like 2 days, I'd be like, she's kind of never coming back. Let that be a warning. Let that be a warning. I mean, don't puke on me.
Or anywhere that you need to clean it up. Just go puke out in the dish.
But I was going to say the peeling skin, I don't know if you noticed, because it was like a super quick cut scene, but they kind of call back to it when she's running out, because it does this quick scene where she's like actually biting her like skin off.
I actually didn't see that.
Yeah, she's like eating it, and it's like a millisecond. It just like flashes and flashes out.
That's interesting.
Yeah, creeps me right out. But like, I thought that was really good, and like when she's like having that conversation with her friend, that Claudette that doesn't want to be there, and then like, is it like it's just like blood pouring out of her vagina? I was like,
I don't really get, she never explains to Claudette actually what happened. And then Claudette, obviously when she gets to the party at the end, obviously Claudette had told them all she had sex with a ghost. And it's like, is that just like the number one thing you jump to conclusions with? If you're...
Claudette's got a big goddamn...
She does. Claudette is actually kind of the worst.
Mike is not a fan of Claudette.
I am not. She needs to stop running it off. I'm just saying. Serve up some fucking silence, bitch.
But Mike, Claudette was trying to get with Andrew, and
she was pissed.
I know. We stand a man bun. A stand bun, if you will.
With
So I understand.
and you knew this was a hipster movie the minute that projector was there. I was like,
oh my god,
this guy's like, oh, I only look at my pictures through 1980s projectors.
My grandfather used to set up like in the living room projectors from when my mom and her sister were little, and then we'd have like a family get together in the living room and look at old pictures on the projector. No, it was awesome. It was super cool. I loved it. So
I was just about to say that sounds awful.
What? I love looking at old family pictures. It's like my favorite pastime.
There's nothing worse than having to look at other people's pictures.
Well, I mean, it was of my parent. So to
That's
see
true.
her...
I'm just razzing you. I just gotta give a shit.
Mike's just being honest with you. He doesn't want to see your fucking pictures.
I mean, I don't know what to say about that. It was my parent when she was a kid. I thought it was cute.
I was also going to say, like, the acting. I thought the acting was all pretty spot on. I don't think anyone did, like, a terrible job.
No, it was pretty naturalistic.
And I mean, like, the actress that plays Ruth, like, I love her.
She sold, like...
I love her.
You know, cracked out semi-ghost. Like, she really served that up well, I gotta say.
She was terrifying towards the end. Like, I was like, man, she's breaking from reality. So, let's talk about, was the movie scary?
No.
No?
I don't think it was scary.
You don't think it was scary?
I actually found it fairly creepy in a way. Not scary per se, but I guess it was the fact that there's a lot of like scenes of like isolation and stuff, and like I said, where she's very confused and, you know, is sort of separated from the person that she has this tie with. But also just the fact that there, like, I found it full of like existential dread. Like, that's how it's a horror movie to me. There's a supernatural element, yes, but it's like just a constant like crisis of existence and like, am I living? Am I dead? What is it to be dead? What is it to be living? Is it better to be dead than living? You know, it was a very, like, to me, it was kind of like a strikes terror deep down, you know, like questioning your own mortality and your existence and the meaning of anything.
See, it's actually like so many different horror elements put together. People would probably be like, this isn't a horror movie, but there's serial killers, there's like psychological horror, body horror, and supernatural all in one.
I know who it was scary for. Dean. Because Dean didn't know what the fuck was going on with Ruth until they got to that party and she just pulled the Exorcist out and it was all that black shit. I felt bad for him. I'm like, this guy...
Really?
Well, I'm just saying, this guy, like, doesn't even know what's going on and she's just, like, puking the devil out or something.
Puking the devil out.
And I love that scene where he's just, like, on the floor, like, against the fridge and he's just like, what the fuck is going on?
I just love how she gets to the party and everybody just turns and stops talking and stares at her. It's like, are you okay? I heard about the thing. And he's like, what the fuck's the thing?
But that's also terrifying.
No,
yeah.
it is, because you're like, what's going on? Not you as like a person, but if you were at that party.
Well, and I was going to say, I guess before I answer, is it scary? I did want to talk about that as well, because I had that noted, was that I thought that was like such a well done scene, because like it follows, like we obviously have this STI background story, and like I think it did a really good job, like almost critiquing like people that have to deal with having an STI or something, but like
the stigma.
All these people at the party knew about it, and it wasn't like, you know, no one's really saying anything to her at first. It's just like you see people talking to each other and it's like, oh, like, what's she doing here? Like,
oh yeah, and she's already like pushed to the margins.
Yeah, and like,
yeah,
it really, like you were saying, Mike, like creates that like isolation, and like you just really feel how isolated she is, and like doesn't have anyone.
Well, she has Michael. At the end,
yes, but they are physically separated for most of the movie, right?
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
She probably didn't think that was going to be her like companion either.
And she tries to open up to Claudette, and you know, literally gets screamed at and fled from.
So I was gonna say, I guess my answer on is it scary? I'm gonna say yeah. I'm gonna agree with Mike. I'm gonna say yes. In fact, I thought with this watch, it was far scarier than any other time I've seen it. And I think it does a great 180, because the first half hour, 40 minutes, I think going into it, you're 100% sure this is going to be a horror comedy. Like, you have Michael, it's like, oh.
And I mean, it's listed as a horror comedy.
Yeah, and like, Michael really brings that, like, oh, it's, you know, it's like I'm watching a Michael Cera movie or something.
Yeah.
And then...
That's him, Michael Cera.
Michael Cera. And then I think it just does this great twist where I thought, like, her body just, like, breaking down was terrifying. Like I said, with my favorite scene, like, I thought that was awesome. Like, how she's got, like, this demon face going on, and she's, like, terrorizing him. You don't know if he's dead or, like, what happened to him. Yeah, and then just, like, that fear of isolation, and then kind of, like, that fear of hopelessness. Because, like, at the end, even though, you know, I guess, you know, her and Michael are a ghost couple now, her life is over, whether she wants it or not. It's like this, I don't know if it's that's a good message about STIs or anything. I mean, most STIs you can kind of fix medically, but it's basically like she has to live with it, and it's like her life is totally changed now. And I just thought, yeah, I think, like, the messaging is scary. And so, I mean, I don't think there's no jump scares. Like, you're not like, oh my god. But it definitely has those, like, psychological things in it. Alright, so let's get to rating it. Xylia, this is your pick?
I don't want to go first. You guys go first.
Okay. Mike, first timer. Mike, you're the first.
Oh, yes. It was my lace crater cherry popping. I'm still a little bit neutral on it. I would actually quite like to watch it a second time, and you know, kind of knowing what I'm in for, and paying a bit closer attention to other elements, because I was a little bit overwhelmed. But I'll give it a yay.
You want me to go next, Xylia?
I mean a slay. I'll give it a slay. Sorry, I said yay.
Oh, you're going slay. Jeez, big time.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's gonna be underrated in my canon.
Yeah. I'm gonna go slay. I really, really like this movie. As we continuously talk about, soundtrack wins me over, and amazing soundtrack. Neon Indian is, like, incredible. This made, like, when I watched this for the first time, I went and, like, downloaded everything they had on Spotify. Like, I love their albums. Like, it's amazing. I love the way it's shot. As I delve deeper into finding out what mumblecore films were, I've discovered I'm obviously a huge fan of mumblecore films because I enjoy most of them.
A development that surprises nobody.
That's right. But yeah, just, I think it's shot amazing. The soundtrack's amazing. It's not crazy long. It's the perfect amount of time. I think it gives you comedy. It gives you some terror. It gives you all kinds of stuff like that. Xylia.
I'm gonna give it a very solid slay minus.
Okay,
I can't give everything a slay.
Hold on.
Or then it becomes
there's a trend.
Meaningless here.
Xylia's upset with us, obviously, for giving it a slay.
I'm not upset.
But there's a trend that maybe the listeners will notice that I find every time you pick a film,
yeah,
me and Mike always give it a really good rating, and you go under our rating even though you picked it.
Well, just because I don't know. What does that even mean? I'm just being realistic. A
slay minus.
Slay minus.
That's still good.
Yeah,
rating.
I solely gave it a slay minus because I can't give everything a slay, because slay then becomes meaningless, and I feel then the people that are listening will just be like, well, everything's a slay, I guess. Like, I don't actually know what's good or not. Yeah, so no, it was, when I remember the first time I watched it, I thought it was like really original and like interesting. And then the more I watch it, I think it's like more interesting. But yeah, the soundtrack's obviously awesome. It's just my general vibe. I'm into it's just kind of like casual, I don't know. The people, like, the person, the main character, Ruth, literally reminds me of my friend Kat. So it's like, I would hang out with somebody like that, even though her life's in shambles. So it's okay.
A hipster.
Oh my god, I'm not. I'm just saying it's just like...
She's not. She just plays one on TV.
Oh my god.
And yeah, so the budget game, there is none. So this premiered at TIFF, and this pretty much went straight to VOD. It didn't have a theater run or anything, which I don't think is a negative thing. I don't feel like this is a theater movie.
No, I don't think so either.
No.
Like, this is definitely like smoke something.
That literally,
Sit at home.
I have a note, and I was like, whoever wrote this was super stoned when they wrote it.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Also, when we watched it, it was on Netflix. I wonder how many people actually watched it on Netflix.
Yeah, I'm not sure. So you can't see it on Netflix anymore. That's an interesting thing to tell people. So you can watch it on Shudder. It is on Shudder.
And put -locker.com.
But we don't endorse.
We don't endorse doing
illegal
that.
means of streaming.
You should definitely get a subscription to Shudder. You can get a
It is wonderful.
7-day free trial.
That's right.
Not sponsored.
Yeah, not sponsored by us.
It's just pure love.
Pure love. Yeah, and I mean, this episode isn't terribly long, but the movie's not terribly long. And to be honest, I feel this is one of those movies that you kind of have to experience. And you kind of have to watch for yourself.
So if you're Cecily, you should probably watch the movie before you listen to this. Although now you don't know because you've already at listened. The end of the episode.
But what I wanted to fill the budget game with, since we're not doing it, is I thought we would give a shout out to the Patreons, because we do have a new Patreon. Colton is our new Patreon.
What a king.
What a king. He came in hot at the second tier, so he gets to pick a film.
He is just melting the place.
That's right. I have his film pick already, so we'll have to decide when we're gonna do it. But I figure we should also shout out everyone else. Cecily, Jen, Ashton.
Yep, thank you. Thanks for continuing to support us, support our podcast.
That's right.
And just being badasses in general.
That's right.
I mean, style icons, all
That's right.
of them.
That's right. And just thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Hey, are you interested in becoming a horror hound? Then join us at www.patreon.com/itslayspodcast and check out everything we have to offer. We have cool things from podcast shoutouts to picking movies all the way to maybe getting yourself a free t-shirt. So if you're interested in joining us and becoming a horror hound, join us at patreon.com/itslayspodcast. So that will leave us with announcing the next review. We're on Mike's pick.
Yep.
Yes. I decided to go with something that I haven't seen yet, but have been looking forward to, and I think it might give us a lot to talk about, and that is the new film, which is actually now on Netflix, although I don't think it started out that way. The Perfection from 2018, I guess, /2019. Anyway, it should be great.
I've seen that it's on Netflix, but I don't know anything about it.
And I know minimal about it. I know it stars the girl from Get Out.
Allison Williams.
Yes.
Also, Lena Dunham connection. She was in Girls.
Oh, well, there you go.
Was she? Interesting.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah, that's why when she plays the kind of like pampered white chick, that's what she did on Girls, and everybody was like, oh, she's really annoying. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure the character is supposed to be annoying, but now she's doing it in like a really artistic way, i.e. in like Get Out and stuff. So you know, where there's more layers to it, and you know, I think it's a great look for her.
Better source material.
Yeah. So
I think that's it for this episode. As always, I am Rowan.
Toodles.
And this is Xylia.
See you later.